What's happening, everybody? This is Adi from Thrylos International, and I am back with a much anticipated, very hotly waited for by the fans roundtable. This is the second roundtable we've done. We got some incredible feedback from you guys. The first one that we did, you all loved it. You all loved hearing from all three channels representing all three clubs in the Marinakis football group. That is Olympiacos, Nottingham Forest, and Rio Ave. So I have everybody back here. The gang is back. I have Matt from Forest Focus. I have Joao from Reis Do Ave. And we're going to talk about what is going on in the football group. Now that we've gotten the main details out of the way from the first episode, we can focus on current events. So very excited to be here and the chat. Let's see how everybody's doing. Matt, how you doing, buddy? It's been a very busy week for Nottingham Forest.
I know. I'm glad. I listened to that intro. It's like, wow, good job. You got the energy because I was up till 3 a.m. The night we sacked Shaw and Dyche, which was 2 days ago, I think, because people won't know if you don't follow us closely. And then I've just done back to back recordings about everything that's going on. So yeah, looking forward to doing this and hearing how you guys are feeling. But good. Thank you for having me back on anyway.
Joao, I have to say we have so many messages and we get so many comments asking how you're doing. You were a huge favorite from the last show. People loved your directness. People loved your opinions about Rio Ave. But we got a lot of concerns about what's been going on with Rio Ave. How are you, Joao?
And no jokes about my English?
No, your English is fantastic, Joao.
It's my prize. Hello, everybody. Thanks for your words. You are not here in Vila do Conde, Portugal, Rio Ave. We are not living a very good week, a very good days. We are near the bottom of the classification, and the coach is being fired. So I must say to our audience, I am a journalist with 40 years of experience. These 40 years of experience, I have almost 60 years. So I have 40 years of journalistic experience. A lot of these years was passed as a sportive journalist. And I never see in these 40 years in Portugal, maybe, outside Portugal, it could be common, but I never see a situation like this. The coach was fired, and he will stay. And he will stay because nobody wants to come here now. The club Rio Ave invited some coaches, trying to hire some coaches, Portuguese coaches, but they declined. They rejected to coach Rio Ave. This is very, very, very strange. It's not a financial question. Rio Ave pays well. This is a problem of the image the club is having now, with so many intermissions from the separate structure from Athens, from London, from I don't know, from Nottingham, from everyone. And the image the club has now is that is not the coach who makes the choice from the 11 players. Other forces, superior forces, superior powers, call for some player to be in the squad, and all the players and all the hypothetical coaches are afraid to be the Rio Ave coach. So this is very, very strange. I never seen a thing like that in 40 years of my experience as a journalist.
Well, we're going to touch on all of that in just a moment. But for everybody that is tuning in and listening right now, don't forget to check out all of the channels that are represented here. I am Adi from Thrylos International. Give us a like, a subscribe, help us find more, not just red and white fans, but more Marinakis football crew fans, so that we can all kind of coalesce together and communicate on what's going on. Give Forest Focus a follow as well. You can follow Matt at Forest Focus Pod on Twitter. You can find him on Facebook as well. And then Joao, you can follow Reis Do Ave, which is the blog that they have for Rio Ave. You can find them on Facebook. Reis is spelled R-E-I-S. So check it all out. It's great content for all three channels. You can follow all three clubs very easily. Now, guys, let's do a quick temperature check. You guys can kind of get a sense that there's a little bit of drama going on in the football group. So let's start with Forest, Matt, because the news most recently you already alluded to, your coach has been fired. Give us the current temperature check. What is going on right now at Forest with respect to the results and the situation there, and what the feeling is?
Well, I guess if chaos brings heat, then it's pretty red hot, because it feels pretty chaotic that we've sacked our third manager and we're about to appoint our fourth in Vitor Pereira, who you will know, Ari. So yeah, I'll get your take on him on our channel. That'll be really interesting. He's going to come in. We are 3 points above the relegation zone in the Premier League with slightly better goal difference than West Ham. The context around it is probably that we've had good fixtures to climb away, including against Wolves, who were just awful, and we couldn't beat them. And that with, I think Marinakis, well, I'm pretty sure he consulted the players by all reports and all indications. They weren't having Sean Dyche as manager, so they made the decision to move him on and bring in Pereira to try and save the season with 12 games to go. So it feels very much on a knife edge, when at most of the way through the season, I think we thought, oh, we'll be all right, everything will come together. But West Ham are winning games, other teams around us are winning games. We'd actually been doing quite well in terms of results, but some of the games under Dyche were just so awful. We played Team Braga in Joao's country, where we were horrific, and then we were awful v Leeds and awful v Wolves in our last two games. And the fans were really turning in the last home game in the ground. They really booed them off, and I think they'd had enough. And there's a lot of anger bubbling away that's ready to really come out about how this season's gone. So I think if Vitor Pereira come in and hopefully solve things and get us the summer, and then we'll reassess and just chalk this up as just a nightmarish 9 months, hopefully.
You know, the toxicity that is amongst fans at Olympiacos is very similar. Even though we're in second place, we're only one match, we're 2 points out of first place. It's a similar toxicity that we have here, and for various reasons, right? There's two camps basically of where the blame is. You have one camp right now that's blaming Jose Luis Mendilibar for his management, which I agree a lot with. He's made some very questionable decisions that have led us to drop points, especially in Greece. And of course the players, the intensity level of the players is down here. It's second, third gear for Greece, whereas for Champions League, they show up and we always are excited and happy to see them fighting so hard in Champions League. But in Greece, they can't seem to kick it up a notch for most games. And then the other camp is, you know, it's the fault of whether it's scouting or administration. There's a lot of fault placed on the administration and those in various departments for what they've done, whether it's scouting, negotiating, or even Marinakis himself. So there's a very similar, because you know, we see this, the football that we're playing isn't great. I've watched a lot of Forest games, and your football and our football is not attractive. I will say, I think in many cases compared to Dyche, I think ours is a little bit better, but I think that's because of the players we have and the competition that we're in. But it's not great. And when you're not getting results, it really makes it worse. So even though we're in second place, we got kicked out of the cup competition. We have the worst derby record in Greece among the big clubs. That's AEK, PAOK, Panathinaikos. So we have the worst derby record, and going into the playoffs where we're going to play against the other top four teams, which will be AEK and PAOK and potentially maybe Panathinaikos if they improve. But it's not looking good for us there either. There's a big concern by most of the fans that we will not do well in the playoffs and could lose our secure direct qualification to the league phase. So things are quite toxic on this side, even though management has communicated that they believe in Mendilibar. They did a nice little tribute for him for his 2 years at the club. But beforehand, before they came out and did all of this, some of the media that's represents Olympiacos, I should say, or covers Olympiacos the closest, insiders or otherwise, were getting very critical of Jose Luis Mendilibar, which I think said a lot. So I think the toxicity level here, despite the fact that we're in a better position, we're in UCL knockouts, we're in second place, not by a bad margin either, only 2 points out, there's a similar toxicity and negative outlook for Olympiacos. Joao, you already gave us a little bit of a preview of what's going on over there and how you feel, but give us more of a specific temperature check. Let us know what's happening results-wise and what the feeling is over there in Ville de Conde.
Rio Ave has 20 points in the classification. We need to make at least more 14. Maybe with 34 points, we can avoid relegation. Relegation, it was something impossible of thinking in the beginning of the season. Rio Ave never played very good, never show a very good football, but with some points, 3 points here, a draw here, 1 point. Now we finished the first term of the championship with 20 points. 20 points is good, because if you make another 20 points, we make 40 points and we will stay in the first division. No doubt about this. The first league, no doubt, no question. The problem is that the performance of the team in the last 8 games, it means in the end of the first part of the season, it was very bad. We have a victory a win in 8 games, and we have 4 defeats in the last 4 games. 12 goals suffered. No one goal. You can mark any goal. So the situation is we are worried. Everyone here is worried with the situation of the team, because we don't see enough strengths to turn around the situation, to spin the situation, and we are like a dark cloud in the top of Ville de Conde. We are so depressed. We are sad. Came 7 players have been changed in the window of transfer, but honestly, maybe they will be surprises and very extraordinary players, but no one is a front player with credits, a very well-known player. Maybe it will be a huge surprise. I hope so, but the replacement of the 7 players, it was not enthusiastic. It was not so. They are in the last game. 6 of the 7 the new players played, but we lost 3-0 in Braga. Very bad performance. The team, the result must be 5 or at least 5-0. So we have a very important game now, Monday, with a team that is also in the middle of the classification. So it's because the next the other game, we are going to Futebol Porto. Porto is the leader of the championship. So the situation is not very. I'm sorry, I'm not. I cannot contribute with happiness to this roundtable. I have no happiness to give you. All my happiness now is destroyed. But maybe in the third turn table you make, I will be more happy. I hope I will be more happy in a month.
I hope that's the case for you as well, Joao. So now that we've kind of addressed the current situations of each club, which has been various, we'll say toxic all around, there's a lot of drama going on in the football group. The transfer window is over for all three clubs. I would like to go and talk about for each club the moves and the opinions on the moves that are made and whether or not it addressed the concerns that we had even when we talked in the first episode of the roundtable and if those were addressed. Matt, let's start again with you for Forest. You guys had made quite a few moves as well in the winter. Tell us, was everything addressed, or did the window kind of not seem like so far that it addressed what needed to be changed?
It was sort of addressed. We needed a striker, a midfielder, probably because Douglas Luiz went, and we needed a left back. We got a striker, we got a left back. It turns out we needed a goalkeeper because Matt Sells got injured, and we brought in Stefan Ortega. I think Sells has been carrying the injury for a while, perhaps, because it's the same thing each time. He missed a few games earlier in the season. So Ortega should be a really good signing. He come from Manchester City. He played quite a lot of games for them last season. He dropped down the order, but a good solid goalie. He's played the last two games. He did fine against. He actually made two good saves against Wolves. So one to preserve a point late in the game, which would have been an absolute catastrophe if we'd lost that. So good business there. We bought a left back called Luca Netz from the Bundesliga, who none of us had really heard of, but he sounds like a good young talent. 6 months left on his contract, so we got him on quite cheap, so a good opportunistic deal. Dyche didn't. I don't think Dyche actually knew who he was. His comments didn't seem to know that anything about him. He didn't play him at Leeds, and we were awful. And he played a young player in his place. It didn't work out. A good young player, but it just wasn't right to throw him into that kind of lion's den. And the striker situation was probably the most interesting because we tried to sign Jean-Philippe Mateta, and we were linked with Strand Larsen at Wolves, who went to Palace. So a couple of big money deals. We ended up getting Lorenzo Luca on loan from Napoli, who really fits Dyche's style of play. He's 6'7", he's massive, get the ball in the box and he'll head it in. The problem is we've sacked Dyche. We've got a new manager in Pereira, who to my knowledge probably won't utilise him by getting loads of crosses in, because at Wolves he played with 2 10s. Ari's shaking his head. That's not good to see. So he feels like potentially he's a dud for the rest of the season. So we still have a lack of goals in the team because Igor Jesus is doing really well scoring. Chris Wood's injured probably for almost all the season. So we've got Taiwo Awoniyi, who's done well but has really suffered with injuries. So we sort of solved the problems in the sense we'll stay up and we can readdress them in the summer. We're not giving Dyche loads of money. We'll go again in the summer. The problem is we didn't win those games after the window where we thought we probably would, and it's put us under intense pressure. And what looked like kind of a sensible conservative window with hindsight now looks like we didn't go at it hard enough. So I sort of sympathise with the club for not blowing the budget and not taking risks. But now, having failed to win, certainly at least one of the games we really had to win, which would have made us feel much better, the squad doesn't feel right for the new manager, particularly in attack. So, yeah, lots of problems. The window doesn't look like it should have done with hindsight, but I can sort of see why the club did what they did.
For Olympiakos's window, I know there was almost the entire window, you guys were linked with our second striker, Mehdi Taremi, which would have been devastating had we lost him, because we ended up losing Roman Yaremchuk, who was unhappy with his playing time. He ended up going to Lyon in France on loan. But we only ended up doing 2 transfers this window. We picked up 2 players from Joao's side, Rio Ave. We picked up Andre Luiz, who is a player all of us have been excited about. Many of our followers have been watching Rio Ave very closely because there's players from Olympiacos that are there. And Andre Luiz has been a player that we've been eyeing all season. Based on the stats that we have, if you go by the Y-Scout rankings, Andre Luiz was the best winger in Portugal. So playing for Rio Ave, the best winger in the Portuguese league. We ended up getting him for what could potentially be a record fee for Olympiacos in our history if all the bonuses are met. So we were very excited about him. He's a player that actually was scouted by Olympiacos first before going to Rio Ave in the end. And then we ended up getting their striker, Clayton. So my co-host, Martial, who watches every single game of Rio Ave, was also excited about Clayton. He's another one that we picked up for 5 million is the fee, 5 million euros. So over 20 million euros could potentially be going Rio Ave's way from these two signings. Now, unfortunately, even though Andre Luiz was a winger we desperately needed because our winger core has not been very effective this season, I wouldn't say we really prioritized a striker. Clayton came as a fix to replace what we lost. The fans really wanted a veteran center back. We sent a young Brazilian center back that we purchased for 4 million from Fortaleza in Brazil this past summer to Rio Ave on loan, Gustavo Mancha, because of our foreign space issue. And we didn't bring a replacement. A lot of people wanted a veteran for Champions League and to help us see out the rest of the season, given that, Panos Retsos, our captain, our starting center back on the right, is not always healthy. Lorenzo Pirola has been fighting injury all season. He's our starting left center back. So we wanted a more defined option that was an improvement over Biancon. We never got it. A lot of people wanted a better alternative at left back to Bruno. Rio Ave has a left back we picked up from the Greek league that everybody likes, Athanasiou. We had to take him from Rio Ave so that we could free up a space in our loans, our loan cap, and we ended up sending him to a Greek team in Greece, to Ofi, Crete. And a lot of people prefer his offensive presence to Bruno, the Nigerian left back we have, who's a little bit more physical, more defensive oriented and less technical than Athanasiou. So unfortunately, while we addressed a very important need in winger, we didn't address some other areas of the team that a lot of people had issues with. So overall, I think most people are unhappy with the window, even though Mendy Libat has some fault in that because he didn't want more players. He wants a small team and he believes he can win with the team that he has. A lot of people wanted more in the team, and the big loss we had this Sunday against Panathinaikos really kind of perpetuates that. So not the most positive of outlooks if you're looking at what the Olympiacos fan base is saying regarding our transfer window. Joao, you are probably the most aggrieved of the three of us with the transfer windows. Tell us more about what happened with the transfers that came in.
Look, we know that we are the weakest link of the multi-club project. So we have the small. We are the smallest club with 5,000 supporters, affiliated supporters. So we know that we are the weakest link. But in this window transfer, we were the most penalized because we lost the two best players. It was a very hard moment to us. They are together. They are responsible for 70% of all the goals of Rio Ave. But it was not only the problem of Clayton and André Luiz, two very difficult players to replace because they are very good. The striker and André Luiz as a winger, extreme winger. They are very difficult to replace. That's why a lot of clubs, including Benfica here in Portugal, intended to hire André Luiz. The problem is that at the same time we lost other two very good players. The goalkeeper, Missa, injured, and Aguilera, the medium, the center, is I don't know. Sorry, he's playing at the middle of the. Is how we say this?
Central midfield.
Central midfielder. Okay. He played for Forest. Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
André Luis Clayton, Mista e Aguilera are now the top 4 players of Rio Ave. They are all out. Vrosai is the Greek Vrosai is a very good player. Is one of the top 5, but now we have only Vrosai from the top of the 5 best players. We have only Vrosai. So the maybe we can survive with the absence of André Luiz and Clayton, but all the bad things are happening at the same moment. The perfect storm, like maybe you can use the expression. This is a perfect storm. Is now not only real in Portugal because you are under a lot of storms here, but a perfect storm in Rio Ave. That's why we need. We need to shake things up. We need to change the coach. The problem is not the competencies or the skills or the ability of Siladopoulos to coach Rio Ave. Is that we need to shake up the things. You have in Portuguese, you have a very interesting expression: is chicotada psicológica. It's to shake mentally. The replace of the coach is not to penalize, is not to accuse him of incompetence or is a bad coach. It's over. All we know, I think he also knows that he arrived to a no return point. He apologized 4 times in 4 games that Rio have lost. I don't know what coach apologized for 4 different times in 4 different games, because he lost everything, all the capital, all the importance, the mental import, the mental influence that he has or that he had with the players. So we need really to change the things up.
So Joao, I want to stay on you for a second because I want to talk about, now that we spoke about the situation, you brought up a very important point about losing very important pieces and they were never replaced. So given what you just told us, what are your feelings on the rest of the season? And how do you think realistically things will finish for Rio Ave?
I was hoping that you not asking me this question, because I have, as usual, I have to be true. I will speak true. I will say for the first time, I hope the last time, that if Sotiris Siladopoulos keeps as a coach of Rio Ave, we will be relegated. So it's I have now a wounded in my heart. He's opened my heart, telling something. He's bleeding my heart, telling something like that, because we are in February. So February, March, April, May, June. We have a lot of months of 15 games. But my feeling, I am sure about that. If Sotiris Siladopoulos keeps as a Rio Ave coach, will be relegated. If he will be sacked and will be replaced by another coach with another mental attitude, another position, another skills, and maybe more luck. Luck is important in everything in life. So maybe you have chance to, with 14 points, to keep Rio Ave in the first league.
Joao, before we started
I'm crying
recording, Joao, before we started recording, you shared with me kind of a feeling that the fan base has right now with respect to the group. You already acknowledged that you guys know where in the chain that Rio Ave stands, but you had mentioned that there was a feeling that that you guys had as Rio Ave fans about where things are, kind of that you were forgotten. Do you mind elaborating on that just a little bit for the audience so that they can capture kind of your
Yes.
emotions and how you're feeling?
If the As always in life, if when the things go well, nobody remembers the others, the things that are not very well, or little problems. But now we are suffering from sports area, and we are not only remember that we are, because Rio Ave now, I think Rio Ave is the club in the first league in Portugal with a bad public image. All the not all the commentators, I'm exaggerating, but a lot of commentator persons in press, in podcasts, etc., are punishing us because the model of we are the only team in Portugal with no Portuguese players in the squad. We have no Portuguese players. The 11 players are all not Portuguese, are from Greece, England, Czech Republic. Not. It is very shocking. I don't know if in Greece or in England this is common, but in Portugal it's not common. 1, 2, 3 Portuguese in the squad, in the first squad, okay, but 0 is strange. And now we feel another things. We do not know even who is our leader. We don't know. We never see him. If the owner, I'm joking, if the owner is Mr. Marinakis, he was only two times in Portugal, one time in Vila do Conde, but he never assisted the game. We have no one to look up. So it's a sense of orphan. We feel like we are orphans because we lost our club. Now the club is not ours, and you have nothing, and you are sad about the results, sportive results. So it's not a good week to talk to you.
Well, I hope things get better, and I hope that Rio Ave turns it around at the very least to stay in the top flight.
I hope so.
So for Olympiacos, as far as the feeling for the rest of the season, there's my feeling and there's the feeling of everybody else. I still believe we're winning the league. I've been telling everybody we're going to win the league simply because we have better players. I still believe we have the best quality roster in Greece. I just think that there's some tune-ups with the coach in terms of player choices that he needs to make for us to win. But with regards to what everybody else believes, I think there's some very serious questions about the squad management and the squad planning. Since we brought in Clayton and Rio Ave, in Greece, there's a rule about non-EU players. You can only have 5 non-EU players in your match day roster. And we have 7 foreigners, including guys like Taremi, Mehdi Taremi. Yazici doesn't count. Turkish players count as EU players for the sake of registration. Bruno Onyemaichi, he's Nigerian. We have Clayton, Rodinei, Andre Luis. So that's already 5 players that I've given you that are classified as non-EU foreigners. So for our game day list, we have to leave 2 players off every week. Bruno is probably one that maybe is easy because he's not our starting left back anyway. And I know Pirola, when he's healthy, can play left back. So maybe you have some cover there. But this week against Levadiakos, we're leaving our our top goal contributor on the team, Mehdi Taremi. He's not going to be on the team sheet because we have too many foreigners. So that is one question about squad planning. And then in the summer, there's a big question. We renewed our coach for another season. He's probably our most successful coach in our history. But the way things are going, if we don't improve our derby form, if Olympiacos doesn't win the league, We don't make it to the round of 16 Champions League, which is a bonus, I'll admit. But if we don't win the league and get our direct entry into Champions League, what do you do with Mendilibar? There's debates about whether he's been given the tools to succeed or not. But I think everybody can agree that we do still have the best team in Greece. So what do you do in the summer if you don't win the Greek league? Are you sticking with Mendilibar? History tells us that even though a coach can succeed as much as he can, if you don't win the league, there may be some questions from Marinakis. He's fired coaches for less. So the outlook for us, the feeling is, I believe personally that things will turn around. But unless we see those results begin to happen, starting with a win this weekend, I don't believe the fan base of Olympiacos will see to that. And the stadium is already getting toxic. From everybody we hear that goes to the stadium, it's bad. Fans are not happy. And if we don't start getting results and we don't get maybe another great result against Bayer Leverkusen or show that the players are here to fight, I think it could get ugly going on to the rest of the season. Matt, how about you? What's your feelings on the rest of the season for Forest, and what's the outlook there?
I just think there's loads of uncertainty, really. In the short term, we've got Pereira, who feels like a short-term manager. I know you're high on him, Ari, so hopefully he comes in and does the business. If we stay up, we're probably going to lose a couple of big players. Obviously, Elliot Anderson.
Matt, allow me just a second. I know Pereira very well.
Oh, yeah.
Because he becomes... I follow his career in Portugal.
He was Porto manager, wasn't he?
He made a tremendous, a superb season in Futebol Clube Porto. He's a kind of magic what he made in Porto. He's a very good coach. I think you have a very, very, very good coach now at Forest.
Oh, good. Well, you guys have cheered me up, because there's so much worry about if we're going to stay up or not. I mean, if we do, then we probably just lose Elliot Anderson and possibly a couple of other big names, but there's no guarantee on that. If we were to have to get relegated, the whole team gets broken up, and it feels like you're set back years then. So, yeah, I think it's a really interesting time. Short term, we've just got to stay up and match West Ham's results, and then we need a big reset in the summer. I don't know if we've got time, Ari, to talk about the group. The structure of our football club is really interesting, and it's intertwined with, especially you guys, less so Rio Ave from what Joao is saying, because Edu's sort of front and centre, and we still don't really know what he does. And I do think it feels very difficult for him to survive from a PR point of view after what has been pretty disastrous so far. So a really intense 12 games ahead, and then a really big summer to correct the wrongs is kind of the best case scenario for us, which is disappointing. But I definitely take it over the worst case scenario of relegation and then resetting the whole football club for potentially years to come, which would be a huge worry for us.
I do want to talk about the structure of the club. We don't have the time to do it today, but I think on the next show that we'll do, and we can plan that between the three of us, we do it in between, or maybe if we can get together again next month, we can spend some time talking about the structure more so and go more specific into it, because there won't be as much transfer stuff to talk about. I think that's a really good idea, Matt, for us to do and have that chat. I do want to do one quick thing that really quick before we go ahead and close things up here. I would like for each of us in our situation to pick one thing that you want to see change ahead of the summer. And we'll start with Matt this time. Matt, what is one thing you would like to see change for Forest? It could be a player, it could be an administration, but anything. What's one thing you would like to see change going ahead of the summer?
I mean, before the summer, it's difficult to say, really, because we've just changed it. We changed the manager. I would have said, I feel like we needed to change Sean Dyche after that Wolves game. So we've sort of already done it. I think when we get to the summer, it feels like this will never really happen because of how things are done. But we need a long-term plan, some long-term consistency. We sort of, half the time we have it in the way that the group is run, the way the club's run. They've brought in Edu to oversee the the multi-club and take us to the next level in theory. So that's long-term planning, which is good. They signed Elliot Anderson and Murillo, which is, Hutchinson. I could reel off a list of young players that we've signed for lots of money, which is good. The flip side of it is the club and the ownership. They want everything and they want it quite quickly. I think they're used to that in Olympiacos, in Piraeus. They win the league. They're always in Europe. The great thing about Marinakis is he's insanely ambitious. He drives everything through force of personality, and he puts a shed load of money into it. So he does everything he can to get the club to where he wants it to be. And if we do get relegated, I'm sure he'd keep throwing money at it to get back at it. I think sometimes the downside is, and we're seeing it this season, is that drive, that ambition. You make bad decisions. You bring in Postecoglou, which was a terrible decision. Potentially you bring in Edu, which he didn't know was going to be a terrible decision, but it feels like it's panning out that way. So bad decisions have bad consequences, and we're probably seeing the flip side of everything we saw last season when we got into Europe. We almost got into Champions League. So it's that double-edged sword I've often referred to of the ownership of ambition and pushing for everything, and sometimes it feels like it can blow up in your face. And obviously the worry for us Forest fans is this season is going to blow up in our face and we're going to be set back. So the rough with the smooth, and it's definitely been the rough this season. But let's all sit down in the summer, and it goes back to what I was saying, Ari, around what do we do with Edu? We've got to get a coach that is aligned with Edu if he stays, and is aligned with the recruitment policy that builds a squad that hopefully can stay in the Premier League for the long term. Because I think the difference between obviously you guys and not so much Joao, because he was saying, but it feels very similarities. But you have a bad season in England, you get relegated, and you have a bad season in Olympiacos, you finish second or third, and the consequences aren't as big in the sense that the whole thing doesn't fall apart and you can put it right the next season. You have an absolutely honking season for us, and you set back years. So yeah, that's the worrying thing of the cutthroat nature of the Premier League. If you get it wrong, it really goes wrong, and we have to do everything we can to make sure we get it right in years to come. So yeah, that's probably where I'm at. That was a long-winded answer, sorry.
I think for me, for Olympiacos' perspective, my big thing, the one thing I would change is I would want to see a plan. I don't care if it's from Edu. I don't care if it's from Marinakis. I just want to know where each team stands, because I think part of the expectation of what could be upsets myself and others more about like the underutilized potential of the group. But if the whole goal is no, we're not going to do it like this way, it's just 3 different operating things that might overlap here, that's fine. Just say it. That way the expectation isn't there. But the one thing I would change is I would want to see, we don't have to see specifics. No one will ever give the major specifics, but I want to see the outline of a plan. Here's the goal. Rio Ave is a pipeline into Brazil. We're going to send young guys there so that they can get first team experience. And then, this goes here, this goes here. Fine. But let us know what the plan is, and let us know that there is a plan. That would be my one thing I would like to see change. Joao, what is one thing you want to see changed before the summer?
The replacement of Saltiri Siladopoulos, of course, but in sorry to insist, but I'm suffering with that. But in a medium, in a large view, I think we are all at the same point, because my first desire is to change the way the multi-club is managed. I think the owner must step away from the executive decisions. He cannot pick up his phone and sack to sack a coach if he doesn't like a game, like he did last season with the former coach of Rio Ave, because this is not a good vision of the management. I think if he managed his shipping company like he does with Rio Ave, he would have already gone bankrupt. So I want to see a different way to manage the multi club with professionals, with the competent executives, and he is the owner. He has the philosophy, and at the end of the season, he wants to is pay back, and is like a shareholder and a silent partner of the. I think he's not good. He being every day involved with the problems of the teams. It's my desire.
I think it's difficult. One person can't do all three. There's too many things going on, so it's very difficult.
Because Olympiacos is very big. Nottingham Forest is very big. So how is possible one person to, and he has his own business, because football is not his first business. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not worried with him. I'm worried as.
Understood. Well, guys, thank you all so much. For those of you that are listening in now for almost 50 minutes here, hope you got some better insights in the group. Don't worry, we will continue to do more of this. We will continue to come back and get some temperature checks of the Marinakis football group. We'll come back and talk about everything. And we're going to be here as things change and to talk about the dynamics as they continue to change. One thing I'll leave everybody with before we go ahead and close up is that, 2 years ago, Olympiacos went through 6 managers in 1.5 years before we found Mendilibar and won the European Conference League. So, Matt, I hope that gives you a little bit of solace and maybe a silver lining for you there. But for everyone that's listening, don't forget to follow everybody here. Everybody here does a lot of work to cover each one of the clubs in the football group. Joao does great work. Him and his colleagues at Reis Do Ave covering Rio Ave. Great team, great character, and a lot of history. Check him out on Facebook. You can follow Matt at Forest Focus. Matt does great work covering Forest. Lots of content as everything's going on, and every guest that Matt has, it's fantastic. I listen to Matt all the time. I read Joao's material now every time a new article is posted. So go visit both of them. Matt, you can find Forest Focus. You can find him at Forest Focus Pod on X and of course on Facebook. And we are Thrylos International. You can find us on every major platform at Thrylos 7 International. Facebook, X, Instagram, we're on all of it. So thank you everybody for the latest episode of the Marinakis football group, whatever talk this is, the conversations of the Marinakis football group. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.